Hello there and welcome to another insightful episode of African Student Voice on AAU TV. African Student Voice is brought to you by the Association of African Investors, Accra, Ghana. And African Student Voice is a student platform that is created to engage students in intellectual dialogues on matters affecting their academic freedom, excellence and progress. And I'm glad to have you watch this program today. We're discussing the challenges that are affecting international students as they pursue their academic mobility all over the world. And with me in the studio are a great set of students who are here to help me discuss this to the latter. Before I let you know who they are, we'll go for a quick pause. Stay tuned, we'll be right back.
4 years ago, like most young people, I was clueless as to what I wanted to do and which institution would help me realize a great career. What better place to pursue this dream than Blue Crest College, with state-of-the-art lecture halls and experienced lecturers, as well as equipped computer labs. Blue Crest is indeed the right starting point. With certificate, diploma and degree programs in information technology, business administration, journalism, oil and gas, Blue Crest is the one-stop institute for everyone who is looking to have a great career. Enroll now. Visit www.bluecrest.edu.gh or call any of the numbers on the screen. Blue Crest College. Education for life.
All right, welcome back. If you just joined us, it's African Student Voices on AAU TV, and it's brought to you by the Association of African Investors, Accra, Ghana. We are currently live from the headquarters of AAU, and please do want to follow us on our social media handles on AAU_TV on Twitter, and also the Association of African Investors on Facebook and on YouTube. Join the movement on Facebook as you search for African Student Voices, like the page, send your questions and contributions, and we'll be glad to receive them. So what we need in the studio, just close to me is Ms. Pamela Abuajewa Mante, SRC President for the Ghana Technology University College. Great. And I also have with me Mr. Isaac J. Hyde. He's the President, NUC's President-elect, the National Union of Ghana Students President-elect. Nice people, you're welcome to African Student Voices.
Thank you very much.
Great. I want to begin saying that I'm so glad to have you here. From your busy schedules, you made time to be here. But what have you been up to lately? I'll start with Mr. Hyde. Lately, what's happening? What's trending?
Nothing much. It's just been meetings upon meetings, all in the interest of the greater Ghanaian student populace. And our time is short, but we hope to make the maximum out of it. So it's been, I'm blessed to also have a wonderful team. I came here with my press and information secretary who has tagged along in everything that we do. Our biggest motive is to make sure the job gets done, and so that's what we've been up to.
All right, I'm with you for the best for the Ghanaian students. How about you, Pamela?
Well, it's been great, and we've all been on issues concerning students on campus and following up on International Students Day and celebrating international students across Africa. That's been what we've been doing lately.
Sure. Talking about International Students Day, we have so many of our African students with the will and the love and the interest to go out there and further their academics and make that international degree as part of the local or domestic degrees. But I want to ask a question neutral from this. Do we have to go out there, basically? Do we have to move from our country to a different country in search of a degree to top up what we have? Basically, do we have to do that?
No, we don't have to.
Why?
We have to appreciate what we have and learn to be with what we have. So it is not a necessity for you to move out there to make it. You can still be right where you are and make the best out of it. You believe or trust that when you move out there, you're 100% rest assured that you get whatever you want or make whatever you want to make, whatever promises you have, whatever dreams or aspirations you have. Do you have a promise that is going to be settled? So why don't you stay back and make it with your own people and make your people proud and brag about it?
Hyde, what is your view about it? Would you want to go beyond the borders of Ghana, or perhaps would you recommend that anybody has developed the will to leave from their shores to a different country for any qualification academically?
Thank you very much. From what I said, wherever human beings move, they move in search of something, because obviously if you're comfortable in your zone, if you have what you require in your environment, there's no need for you to move out there. But I mean, if people or students will move from within their confines of their borders to other zones or, let's say, continents in search of higher education, it's because perhaps it's lacking within their territory. And I mean, as a matter of fact, you also know that states sponsor some of these students to go and further their education. And so if you have a situation where maybe you're studying oil and gas in KNUST and you cannot further or advance the course at KNUST and you can get it from Norway or the UK or any other place, then obviously people will definitely move out there to go and search for it.
What has happened to the African students of late? Some of the articles we've seen online that Nigeria is the top. Nigerian students are so many everywhere in the world, especially in the US, topping the number of students who are studying out there. And that tells us that we have so many Africans actually everywhere studying. But we have challenges. And one challenge we are facing is the issue of discrimination on race and color. This is something that we have put on ourselves. But how can we explain this? How has this come about, the issue of discrimination on our race and color as African students out there?
Okay, when it comes to discrimination of race and color, it has been there since time immemorial. And I do not believe it is now that it's going to change. So you have to acknowledge who you are, be proud of it, and be proud of your color, even when you move out there. I am not saying that it is bad for you to explore or move out of your country or continent to study or to explore, search for greener pastures. I am not against it. But the mere fact that you move out there, just be ready and rest assured that these are different people you are going to meet. And do you know how they would accept you? And are you rest assured that you are okay there? If that is not the case, definitely you face some discriminations. So what measures are you going to put in place that when these things come, you'll be able to contain emotionally, psychologically, and also accept it physically? So I would say that in all these, it depends on you, the individual. When you get there, it is already in the system. How are you going to tackle it? That is it.
But Heidi, if you were to be, let's say, in a country out there and you find people passing comments that you think infringes upon your race and your color, makes you very uncomfortable when you meet the students, how are you going to manage that?
Well, I mean, issues about racial discrimination has never been a pleasant thing. I mean, you don't need to experience it before you know how people feel about it. We've seen in the circles of soccer and other international space. I mean, as recent as last week, we had a case of one of our student politicians or student activists, Azamati, who is in Oxford, the blind young student who was manhandled from the Oxford Union Debate Society. It was quite an unfortunate incident, and at any point in time, issues of racial discrimination must be condemned. But I always say that matters of race and what people's cultural identities are separate things. If I experience racial discrimination, I don't think that I will take it to be pleasant, but it is not my fault that I should experience racial discrimination. It's somebody's refusal to learn or to understand that our societies are not limited to where we come from. As a matter of fact, I'm a Ghan, and in Ghana we say Abilokuma Abakuma. What it means is that we are a society that is willing to accept people from all walks of life, and so wherever you are, come and join us. And I think that that is what every religion preaches in our society. There's no law, we talk about natural law, that instils that kill people A, B, C, D. But naturally, whether Buddhist, whether Shintoist, whether Christianity, or Muslim, it all preaches acceptability. And these are the agents of socialization, be it our churches, be it everybody preaches the need for us to, harmonize our society. And it goes beyond racial colors or whatever it is. But in every society, you have bad nuts. If you go to Italy, racial discrimination is very rampant. I mean, in the United States, prior to the civil society ages that were going to change, this thing has been there. But the point is that it is not everybody who is like that. If you go to the UK, yeah, you find one or two bad nuts here. Individuals are there who, no matter the laws you put in place, no matter what you teach, they will still be who they are. But of course, we can also say that we've come very far because a lot of sensitization, a lot of education. We cannot say that what used to be then. I mean, in fact, 400 years ago, we had slavery. People had a certain mentality in order to engage in slavery. Today, there's slavery. I mean, we had the issues about Africans being enslaved in the Gulf, being trafficked to the Gulf for them to go and work and all that. It is always going to be there that in a particular group of people will not do the just or whatever the social norms are. It also does not mean that it's a complete thing. At any point in time, we need to educate people. Sometimes failing to talk about it or running away from the situation does not find a solution. If I happen to find myself in a situation like that, I'll try as much as possible to educate people for them to understand.
Following up what you're saying, what difference does it make, as Pamela made that, you can make a difference even with where you have your domestic degree? What difference does it make when you are going out there for perhaps another or a top-up qualification? What difference are you searching for?
Well, like I said, you see, it's the global order, right? I mean, I don't know if you've heard of this conspiracy of the rich, where we needed to sit down and agree that we need to set a certain standard globally, that education becomes a standard. Before you get to, you need to go through the steps. You need to go to the basic, you need to go to the high school, you need to go to the university before you attain a certain status. So that there's not necessarily standardization, but we all know that there's something called degree. And degree becomes a yardstick for you to attain certain offices. If it becomes the order, then we also need to look at the other side of it, that if that is what I need in order to advance, that is the status quo. I mean, if you're applying a job with the government of Ghana and you're going to be paid by Controller and Accountant General, there are certain standards you need to meet. These are laws that we have come to put in place to regularize the standards, because if those things are not there, then it means that nepotism and tribalism becomes the order of the day. It means that it's about who you know, it's about who you are connected to, it's about who you... So there are positives of it. I mean, what I'm saying is that the issue about the discrimination and those things are just an aspect of it we need to deal with. It being there means that we also need to take a different look at it rather than the norm of always complaining. The only way somebody will leave his confines to go and search for something, it is when it's lacking. And so if I have to go to UK to go and further my course, then generally it means it's not available in here. But if it is here, then it means that we need to make sure that people are aware, people understand. And of course, whatever is in the UK, if it's available here, then we need to preach the virtues of the quality that we have. And people will accept it. It's not an overnight thing. But with time, people will get to understand and accept it.
Pamela, so now let's talk about what don't we have? What is it? What's lacking over here that someone will want to go out there and go and get it?
I think it's a fear among the youth in Africa. We have that fear that our future is not promised. Despite the resources and the rich resources we have, we still do not believe that we can still make it. So one of the major things we lack is a pulling factor, and also the brand and value, respect attached to what we have, and making every African youth or student accept what who or she is and what they have. So one major thing I think we should work on is we can't be like the other people out there, but we should learn to appreciate what we have. We have to instill that small voice among ourselves. I think one of the things that is contributing to this situation where we have more African students traveling out there is what we are saying about ourselves and how we are criticizing ourselves and how we are rating ourselves. If you meet your fellow counterpart coming from a different continent or coming from a place you think or assume that is a higher, have higher standard of living and all that, how do you even brand your country or continent before them? And what feedback would they give you? I know people out there envy Africans a lot and would wish to be Africans and wish to be blacks and wish to be where we are. But we ourselves are not even content with what we have. We are not proud about what we have. Yeah. And we can't even brag about it. So how then would they also position themselves that, hey, they are also rest assured that when they get here, they can do this and get that. So I think the major challenges are the pulling factors. What is it that will draw us to stick to where we are and stick to what we have? We need higher economic activities, higher standard of living. We need scholarships. We need good working relationship and barriers and studying environments among ourselves. Do we have them? And have we made all these things available to ourselves? Have we promised our people the true future that they need? That if you are a farmer, you can continue to be a farmer and make it in life. Have we promised them that even if you stay in the village, you can still become the billionaire you want to be? You do not have to risk all your resources and risk all your life to get out there thinking that you have the greener pastures rest assured for you. And if you get out there, are you also 100% sure that when you get back, you have all these things? You're going to be who you are when you get back. So I think that is it. We need the pulley factors to be working. If we do not have scholarships in Africa, let our governments in Africa make these scholarships available. We shouldn't position ourselves that it's only in Western worlds that we have free education ongoing. So fine, if you do not get if you do not get there, you wouldn't get that free education and experience that standard of living. I know in Africa we have places that we can rate as equal as other places in the Western world, but how have we made it accessible to every African youth in the region? So I think that is it. We should brand ourselves very well among ourselves, and also we should make things that are not available in the system available to us. We should get it easily. If you're an African, you should be able to access an African scholarship easily. We should bridge these borders. If I want to study and gain masters and gain on my PhD, you should know the next place I should think about is I should be able to travel to a next African country to gain all these certificates if I don't have it in my country. And I think that centralization will make it work.
Well, if you just joined us, African Student Voice on AUTV, and we're discussing the current challenges that are hampering international students through their academic mobility. And with me, my guests are really bringing out the points. Pamela just got so passionate, and Heides has come. So we'll have to go for a quick pause. When we come back, we'll be discussing what are some of these challenges that deter them from excelling out there.
Botswana Accountancy College is a business school that was set up over 2 decades ago to contribute towards the human capital development in Botswana and beyond. BAC has over 20 years diversified its product portfolio to offer accounting, business, leisure, management, and ICT-related programs at undergraduate and postgraduate levels, as well as consultancy short courses to augment professional skills. In achieving this diversification, the college has partnered with UK-based universities of Derby, Sunderland, and Sheffield Hallam University, as well as professional bodies such as SEMA, Beaker, AAT, ACCA, CIA, Cisco, Microsoft, SAP, ESA, and SIPS, to allow our graduates to have a globally recognized qualification and be globally competitive. To learn more about BAC, contact us on 3953-062 in Gaborone or 241-0558 in Francistown, or visit our website on www.bac.ac.bw. Also, you can visit our social media pages on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. BAC, celebrating over 20 years of creating business leaders.
Joined us, African Student Voice on AUTV, and we're discussing the challenges that our international students are facing day in and out, affecting their academic mobility. And I want to come back with the issue of brain drain. You know, Africa complains, according to the Afrobarometer report, says that we have brain drain challenges. We have the best of our expertise students, bright students going out there. When students go out there to find these greener pastures, find these great sites, they don't want to come back. They're actually kept by the offers they receive over there. So our best people will always be taken away. How? What are we doing to keep them here? Hi.
Well, matters of brain drain has been with us for quite a long time. And at any point in time, we realized that issues of brain drain came with economic challenges. I mean, in the early 50s, when we were going through the independence era, or across the Sub-Saharan Africa from the late 50s to the 60s, you had a lot of Africans who had been trained outside rather coming in to come and educate and join the emancipation for African freedom. I mean, subsequently in the late 70s to the 80s, you had a situation where it was rather vice versa. People of African heritage who had been trained were rather moving out there because of economic issues, because of tribal wars and other civil issues that you could think of. The situation with brain drain can only be harnessed by solving the problems that people face. I mean, it's been said that, the International Maritime Organization identifies economic issues as one of the major driving factors for Africans migrating from Sub-Saharan Africa to Europe. It means that if you are able to solve the problems that they face, does that mean they will stay? First of all, for me, I think that there's the element of the psychological bit. The psychological element is that the African always feels that the white man is superior to me. Secondly, we tend to think that anything foreign is good. Or let's say is superior to whatever we have. The golden tree chocolate that we see here has been said to be one of the best in the world, good for the heart, black chocolate, everything. But somebody will always go for Cadbury because of brand. So we need to, in our own way, find a way to make ourselves reflect in us. So that if I'm wearing kente, I'm not wearing kente because I'm going to have a wedding, but it's my sense of pride. So that I will not force myself to go and buy the Gucci's or the Italian products that I'm paying tens of thousands for. That it does not even have a certain sense of reflection. I mean, if you wear kente to Agbogloshi or to, who cares? Nobody sees it. But then again, we have not been able to actually position ourselves. And what is lacking in every action of ourselves is deliberacy. Deliberacy in the sense that whenever we set to take an action, we don't necessarily try to identify what we seek to achieve from the action we want to take. So first of all, I think that branding and publicity. Then self-awareness, consciousness, how we able to imbibe the African interest. Come to think of it, you have so many Pan-Africanists. And when I say Pan-Africanists, these are people who share in the ideologies of the Nkrumahs, the Jomo Kenyattas, and what have you, the Sekou Tourés and all these people are Pan-Africanists. They read and champion the African agenda. Yes, somebody wanting to study sociology, archaeology, will still want to go and study in the UK. And still go and pay that money that he seems to condemn. Meanwhile, the African, you have museums and other African acts of civilization in Senegal. You see, so it's one thing saying it, but we need to walk the talk. How do we identify with the issues and address it? Somebody's biggest dream is that she needs to marry a white woman to be relevant in society. It is not the person's fault. Sometimes it's lack of information, it's lack of understanding of the issues. But we also cannot discount the fact that the age of social media has also created a certain or a new dimension to our understanding of social issues. So I'm looking on the TV and I'm seeing all the wonderful stuff. I have a friend in Chicago, Illinois, which has one of the highest cases of crime. You get it? You see, whatever you see in Ghana here is 10 times better than what you see out there. But that person is coming to Ghana and is being told by the auntie that, be careful, take care of yourself. Me and you, who's supposed to be careful? You see, it's how we tell the African story. We always tend to focus too much on the negatives rather than projecting our true values and Africanism. The fact that we are people who are heartwarming, we are the people who accept all. If not for our acceptance, obviously we wouldn't have a slave trade because we open our wide arms to people. The Aztecs in Mexico did not allow that. They fought it. That's why millions of people died. The point is that we need to project what we are made up of. And the African story can only be told by the Africans. When you look at America and all its issues, it doesn't mean that America doesn't have a problem. But they shape the thoughts of the people who watch them in and out. That is what is lacking within the African terrain. I think we are too quick to talk, we are too quick to complain. We're not necessarily putting actions to the talk that we are putting out there. It's not always about giving the wonderful speeches and mounting the platform, then championing the agenda, this agenda, that. But how do we connect it to the youth? And see, the youth is the driving force of the African agenda. More often than not, you have the early ones, you have the greater championing and saying all the things. How does it trickle down? Who identifies Pamela's passion and her drive to make the thing work? Who identifies the passion of their party? Who identifies people? Without necessarily having it being your daughter or your relative because the person is your connection. The reality at any point in time, we know the problems. The African problem, we all know. We can blame the corruption and all that. Even the churches are corrupt. But the problem is that we always tend to overlook our involvement in the problem, rather than to blame others. Like I've always maintained, the African problem can only be told by the African. We need to shape ourselves. We need to present our story and make it attractive enough for people to buy it. Here in the case, we've not sold our story home. We want to sell it out there. Who can best sell our story? So that if I end up finding myself in America, the only reason why that somebody in, let's say, US will be worried about the Nigerian is because some Nigerians, they select few. And let me tell you something. When you talk about criminals and drugs, it's still in America. But we don't have, how many people smoke weed and take cocaine in Nigeria? We all have our badness in this. But the problem is not the Nigerian. The problem is that we have failed to tell the success story of Nigeria. And the Nigerian story can only be told by Nigerians and other Africans. Because the whites out there also have their problems. Yet they choose to talk about their positive sides. And that is what is lacking. This is my take.
To add on to what he's saying, another thing that we have failed to do is to set up lots of research centers. If you know you have lots of African students developing and evolving, they have passion to work and they have the drive to bring out new inventions and all that. Do you have the avenues that when they get these platforms, they can invent and do whatever they want to do, they can explore and all that? We do not. We do not have research centers in Africa. And climbing the academical ladder and the educational ladder, you need to research more, to get more information and all that. If we do not have it, where are these research centers? They are all found outside Africa. I'm bent on saying that I can boast of maybe 10 outstanding research centers in Africa. We do not have. We need, our governments need to come together and set up some of these agencies, research agencies. Let us have it there. At least it can safeguard our people and reduce the rate of brain drain. Yeah. If we have the research centers, you have a lot of people exploring. You can even get a young individual or young youth, probably 10 years, inventing something in Africa, and we can bring it out there. But once we don't have all these things, that's why you can hear of 8-year child bringing out this invention from this country, and they are all not in Africa. But you find out that when they are out there, they are giving us the good news. So what is it that is not here, that is there, that is pushing them away? So should we allow them to go all the time, or we should create an avenue for them to be here? And also, if that is the case, what are we doing for ourselves? That are here, what are we doing for ourselves? So we need to look at all these areas and go back to our drawing table and put all these things right.
You know, counting on what you said, quite recently at the conference, on the African International Student Conference, we realized that some students saw this information that Canada needed students from Africa with some scholarship, so they put themselves to it. And the one who was coordinating this scholarship scheme called for a fee of 30,000 Ghana cedis from each student to be paid. And they were still clueless on this procedure until they happened to go to the embassy, and then the embassy outlined to them what the procedure, the appropriate procedure that they had to go through to get to Canada. And they were surprised that now they are getting the right information. So if they are paid the money, that will be their end. What is wrong with the African students in this age?
We have failed to read. We have failed to research. We have failed to get the information we need ourselves. This generation, African generation, have been to do is, fine, let me give this person to do this for me, and then I will get it. I don't care about how it's being done. What I just need is this, is that. We do not want to get the information for ourselves. We do not want to read and research. Assuming this thing came up and you took it upon yourself to read about it. After reading, go to the various agencies in charge of all these. If Canadian visa, go to the Canadian embassy, research, how do I get it? How do I get it for myself? Do I need to do this? Do I need to do that? If all these procedures the person might have gone through all these procedures, we would not have found ourselves wanting. You will be able to identify who a fraudster is and who a genuine person when the thing approaches. So I think we do not, should I say we are lazy? Yes.
Yeah, I think we have to
we are lazy, yes. That's the fact. We are being lazy. If you can take up as a responsibility and get that information for yourself, go on the internet, research who is this person, what is this agency, what are they into, what do they do. And another thing is, we are so much hyper about the Western world. When we hear about it, Africans, it's like it is the end of the world. It's like it's God. No, that is not it. I know civilization began in Africa. And I believe as at that point, Africa by then was then America. Everybody in the world, in the globe, was hailing Africa. But now the story have changed. What are we going to do to get back to that story? I see that the ladder has been lost. Can we, the youth, construct back that ladder by branding ourselves, position ourselves such that if someone out there asks you a question, even on TV, what do you think about Africa? What do you think about your people? What do you think about yourself? Would you stand out tall and say that I'm proud African, I am this, I am that, I love my color, I love my my cloth, I love who I am and all that? I think these are some of the things we have to look up to. When all these things, I think when someone will tell you that I want to take you to US, you wouldn't be bothered because you are okay with where you are.
Well, we are time pressed, but we'll take your final words on this. We now know the challenges. The challenge, of course, a challenge of discrimination, a challenge of information. What is your final view to every African student out there? Perhaps you have to look in your camera and make it clear. What do we have to know?
Well, I'll answer. My final words will be based on a certain true experience that I had. I think 2 years ago, I happened to be the vetting chairperson for the University Students Association of Ghana.
Okay.
University Students Association of Ghana.
All right.
One good friend who was then running to be the coordinating secretary of the association was before me, and I asked the gentleman, if you don't get this position, what will happen to you? I mean, I know you've worked hard for it. If you don't, I was expecting that perhaps I get to see his staff, what it's made up of. He told me that, Mr. Chair, American Embassy crowd bouncing me. Like, he says that the U.S. Embassy has bounced him twice in his quest to travel outside. So he going for this position. I mean, if he doesn't get it,
I mean, it has no.
You see, so for me, much as I consider other factors, I believe that the social fiber of the ordinary human being is his mentality. Mm-hmm. You draw your powers, your strengths, and your drive and everything from what is in your thoughts. And I also understand that we are not independent of our thoughts. Certain social factors shape our thoughts. The person in America is no better than me, except that he's been promised more opportunities than myself. The certain young guy at Agbogblotion is no different from the young man at East Legon. It's because of opportunities that have been availed. So first of all, we need to start with education. There has to be a conscious effort to shape our thoughts and perceptions. That's one side. Then again, the structures have to be put in place, because if I know that if I go through the proper structures, I'll get a job done, there's no need for me to go through a third party. But even the people who sit behind the computers, who are supposed to ensure that the thing works properly, are circumventing the system and are helping, because no guru person at DVLA or the passport office can just walk in there and get a thing done. That person may have somebody within the system. And when we get used to the fact that, you know what, sometimes the only way to get a job done is through bypassing the system, people will definitely go there because people need help. So first of all, we need to work on our psychology. We need to build structures and not individuals. Like Obama said, we need to build strong institutions and not strong individuals, strong persons, or making demigods out of people. Then, of course, we need to also tell the African story the African way by making it sound relevant into people's ears. This is my take.
Great. Pamela, your last take.
Okay, my final words would be on an experience I had when we went to China. We were housed in the headquarters of Huawei and to study 5G, 4G.
That's a comfortable one.
Yeah, can move. So we were opportunity to have lots of good technocrats come teach us and all that. And we're discussing about the Huawei, their research centers, where they've set them up and all that. Upon all discussions, they've not set up one in Africa, but they've been able to set up one in UK, France, and all that. I asked, why not Africa? He said, per the business structure, whatever they want to do, is if they've set up all these research centers to benefit a particular chain of their business. So one set up in Paris because of their fashion and all that. So if they want models and all that, they can get it. Russia and all that because of the coding and hacking and all these tech things. In other countries, respectively. But with Africa, there's no advantage. What can we identify ourselves with? I realize that meaning continentally as Africans, we are not identified with anything. What people are just identified us with is we buy the stuffs, usually they just dump everything on us. So why don't we as Africans come together and identify ourselves with one thing? If it's our rich culture and our resources, let's just propagate that message. Make it look so attractive. And let me tell all the youth out there is no greener pasture out there for you than what you have in Africa. The high standard of living that you are craving for, higher education level that you are craving for, all these things you are craving for, all these things are in Africa. You can build them yourselves and make it look comfortable to everyone out there. I believe if we all come together as one, and as every youth out there, and stand out tall with your phone, like I'm a proud African, I'm proud of where I am, I'm proud of who I am, what I have and all that, it will draw a lot of attention to us. I think it will bring a sort of an identity. If Paris can be noted with fashion, if Russia can be noted with a particular thing, what can we be identified with?
Sure.
Let's identify ourselves with one thing. If it's our color is one.
Right, thank you for watching African Student Voice on AU TV as we discuss the current challenges that were faced by international students as they pursue academic mobility. Believe in yourself, African student out there. If you are willing to travel outside the country to further your academics, we're not saying it's a bad thing, but we're saying that you need to have the right information and follow the right procedure. And if you believe in your heart that the only place to make it in life is to travel out there for education, perhaps you have to change your mind because you have the best in the African continent. The only thing that is hindering you is the mindset that you need to develop, that the best case in Africa. Thank you very much, and I'm Ajimano Chodaku, your host for today. Please keep watching African Student Voice on AU TV. Catch you next time. Bye.